Okay, it says we're live now, and we'll try again. We had a major fail with my grand return on Monday night, but wasn't thinking I was going to be able to do one tonight, but here I am. So we'll have a short show at least, and hope you can come and visit me. Let's see, we need to post the Stunt Hangar link, and it should be uploading right now. And there we have it. And the Stunt Hangar control line forums in the At the Bench thread is the link for tonight's show. If you want to come and visit us with your camera and microphone, click that link, or you can go over to the Stunt Hangar control line YouTube page and use the chat box over there and talk with text, and we'll try to incorporate your text into our conversation. Also, I don't see a super chat button to click tonight, so we might not have that. But in any case, that's for donations. If I can figure out how to get that working, I will. And looks like we've already got one visitor, Jeff Riley. Hey, buddy, how you doing?
Not bad. And yourself?
Not too bad. You hearing any echo yet?
No, it sounded like they were announcing a ball game the other night.
Yeah, I know, it was terrible. And I went and watched the reruns on YouTube. I tried twice, and they looked awful. They were impossible to listen to, so I just deleted them both. Not the grand return I had hoped for, but I figured we'll give it another try tonight. Probably going to be a short show, but I like to be able to get together with everybody and have a audible talk that's not all distorted and echoed. That's the reason I've got my earphones in. Only one
Yeah,
side of my earphone
that's
seems to be
cool.
working.
It'll be interesting to see if anybody gets the notification and comes in.
Yeah, anybody
I
that's got YouTube notifications should have gotten dinged on their phone or whatever. So
I get mine because I'm watching
anyway,
at about 85% of the time anyway.
let me try an experiment. I'm going to unplug my headphone right now and see if the echo starts. And testing 1, 2, 3. Sound any different to you?
Sounds good on this side. Hopefully your side does too.
I'll leave it like that. I'll plug the headphones back in if it starts that echoing again. I don't know if it was my speakers feeding back, but I got a message from Trayan after the show was over that said after I signed out, the echo went away, and everybody was able to sit around and have a good conversation for a while after that. So I'm glad I at least got everybody together, but I didn't get to play.
Yeah,
But
it's
anyway,
no fun to start the game and not get to play.
no kidding. Let me adjust my camera so I can slouch and be
Yeah,
in the screen. Yeah, there we go. Got my Star Trek Starfleet Academy shirt on.
I can actually hear my voice through your speakers.
Really? Oh, okay. I'll plug the earphones back in. I don't know what's up with that. I never had that problem before, and it may be some setting on my end that I don't know about. Oh, now I've got them all knotted up. So
Oh, that's no fun. Get the cat one tangled.
all right, earphones are back online. And click. All right, I'll be with you in just a second. I'm untangling them now. I shouldn't have wrapped them up. Okay.
No, no worries. Take your time.
Yep. Right ear is live. I think my left ear is dead.
Yeah. I can't hear my echo now, so
Okay, good.
it's
All right.
got to be some setting over there. So I'm doing something.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, at least both of my headphones are working now, so I can't hear anything going. Oh, it looks like Gerald's on the chat. And hey, good evening, Gerald. Glad you could join us, and Minnesota Mike too. And I can't I can't even do it with both ears plugged because
I don't know how often Sparky checks his messages, but I had offered to trade in my Tiger 60 for a Fox 35.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to let him know I put it in the mail this afternoon.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, he was. He said something about it when we were talking back before the hospital. I think he had said that he was getting an engine from you.
Yeah,
What's he going to use the Tiger 60 in?
me? No, I'm giving Sparky the Tiger 60. He's giving me a 35.
Oh, what's he going to use the Tiger 60 in? That's his.
Probably a paperweight for now. I'm sure the thing needs to be rebuilt. The compression's pretty light, but he says he's got parts for it. So,
Yeah,
or at least it seems light to me. I've never played with a 60 before.
I've never played with a Tiger at all. I got a Thunder Tiger, but you're talking about a Super Tiger, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Big
it's one of the
difference.
old VK Tiger 60s.
Yeah, cool. Well, we
I
got
bought
Hey
it off
Minnesota
eBay.
Mike.
I bought it off eBay and put it on a stand, and I got it started on 5%, but it was kind of tough to start.
Yeah, yeah, they start a lot easier on 10 or 15. I've
Uh,
had new ones, new engines that I had trouble starting and went ahead and put some half A 35 in it, and they'll crank right up with that.
I can
I don't
I
think.
would imagine.
Oh well, so it's been a long stretch. Once again, I'll say the same things I said the other night. I'm glad to be back, and hopefully I can stay back. These
Yeah,
setbacks have been knocking me around left and right. So hopefully, hopefully I'll get a long run now. I deserve one. I'll tell you that. Oh,
you do deserve a break. I'll give you that.
no shit. But so what you been doing? You've been flying or doing anything outside?
Actually, the wife's been out of town for the past couple of weeks, and she's going to be out of town for another week. So I've been taking care of the house, the cats. I get out to the
Yeah,
garage a little bit every week. I got some lawn chores to do, and between all the stuff that we split the chores, I don't have much time doing it all.
yeah. Well, when it comes close to time for her to come home, you'll have to rush around and make it look like you did a whole week's worth of work in one day. That's what
Yeah,
I do anyway.
she'll,
I'm just kidding.
she'll find a piece of dust somewhere and say, "What happened here?" She's like that white glove tester. She's pretty picky like
Yeah,
that.
the older we
Last
get, the less we care about it. But hey,
Yeah.
got other things to worry about. But we had finally have been able to get some a cleaning service to come in and clean up a little bit, and I think that's going to work out pretty good because they're not all that expensive once they get the initial deep cleaning done. Then they can come top it off every 2 weeks or something. However fast we mess it up,
That makes it nice.
we still have to clean up cat puke and that kind of thing.
Yeah, I've been doing that. I got two cats, so
Oh yeah, yeah. We got two of them. We got Speckles and the Professor. The
yeah,
Professor's a
I
one-eyed
got
sweet
Pepper and
boy.
Parker. Here
Speckles
comes
is
Parker.
a
Right now.
Speckles is an uppity barn cat. So I like that piece
Yeah,
of artwork you got on the wall behind you.
which one? Oh, that one.
Is that
Something my
coffee
wife picked
beans
out.
and stuff?
No, it's a bunch of sheet metal, and it's called Broken Clock.
Uh,
I have no idea where she found it, but she said, "Come out to my car. I got something for you to carry." And all
yeah,
right, now
that
hang it
looks
on.
like something at a local shop where local artists sell everything.
Yeah, it's something like that. Probably Pier One,
Yeah,
shop similar to that.
Bed Bath and Beyond, or even Target. Who knows where they come
Yeah,
up with this stuff?
Yeah, and she found it. She brought it home, and I hung it on the wall. So there you go.
How long y'all been married?
26 years.
Oh, that's good. Good.
Yeah, I've had a pretty good run.
Holly and I hit 35 this past July.
All right, on.
Jack Snavely just popped into the chat box. Hey, Jack. And yeah, unexpected show it is. I'm trying to make up for that grand failure of Monday night that was supposed to be my grand return of Rusty, but it didn't work out. It was unusable. So I deleted them. I figured we'd plug in tonight and see how it goes. Oh, Gerald's got 5 cats, less rats than mice, hopefully. So they're working cats. That's my kind of cat.
I wish my cats were working cats, but they're like spoiled brats.
They're sleeping cats, sleeping and eating cats.
They're sleeping, eating, and pooping.
Yeah.
That's how they
One
are.
of ours is a puking cat. I don't know why, but she's got a sensitive belly. So you can plan on watching where you're stepping first thing in the morning and see what kind of presents she left us the night before. She's otherwise a pretty smart cat.
Yeah, my female cat, if she overeats, you gotta watch your step.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're fun. And there's Parker. He's over here now. Yeah, whatever. Now I haven't had a chance to get out to the shop in 2 weeks. I've been fixing lawn sprinklers and plus, all the house chores.
Yeah.
Can't wait for her to
What
get
kind of
back.
work do you do? Are you retired or you got a job in the day job?
I'm retired. I did construction. I was a sheet metal worker.
Uh,
I did that for 31 years.
oh man, Jackson Avley just hit us with a super chat, which is great because I don't even see the super chat $sign at the bottom. I see a smiley face, but thank you, Jack. I appreciate that. Sparky
Uh,
reloaded my PayPal account with some of the donations y'all have brought to us, and that's great. I appreciate that. I use that to pay for my $5 a month Pandora and my newspaper and a couple other things like that. So it helps, and my hobby budget too. Just automatically deducting, and it doesn't have to come out of my bank account. And usually a little left over for the hobby store. It's about time for me to raid Brodax in anticipation of getting back out there and doing something. I'm not ready to traverse the path through the grass and the bumpy yard to get back there yet, though. But I got the physical therapist coming in this week to restart me, and so we can get going. And I'm having good days and bad days. I was so bad today after dialysis. I had no idea I'd be able to start a show tonight, but suddenly, like I do so many nights, about 8:30, I perked up and all felt good. So here I am. I'm a nocturnal guy anyway. I hit my stride about 10 o'clock at night. That's when my imagination and my energy peaks. Don't know why, but that's just the way I'm wired.
Good thing you're not on California time.
Guess so.
Your 10 o'clock at night would be like actually your 1:30 in the morning or one
Right.
o'clock.
It sure would. No, it wouldn't. It's the other way around. It'd be seven
If you
o'clock.
if you started your show here at 10 o'clock, it'd be 1 o'clock back
Yeah,
there where you're at.
yeah. It's 7:50. I mean, it's 9:59 where I am, so it's 7:59 where you are, right?
I think it's I don't
Oh,
know.
6:59. 6:59.
Yeah, 6:59. 1 minute to 7.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
it's a
Gerald, I'm glad to see you're out there, and I appreciate your get well message you sent me some time back. I just got it was earlier in September, but I just got to go through my emails and cull all of the old ones that I've either ignored or didn't need, back down to a normal number of emails now. That was a pain in the ass. And it is 6:58 where Minnesota Mike lives. Yeah, he's a California boy too, even though he calls himself Minnesota Mike. I think that's what his race car is called.
Yeah, I think he's about 4 hours north of me, up near Fresno, and somewhere in Central California.
And
Stockton.
yeah, how long does it take? How many miles from top to bottom is California?
Yeah, it's
That's a
100 miles
long way.
to San Diego, and that's about the bottom. And then it's probably 450 or 500 to the Oregon border. So it's probably close to 500, 600 miles up and down, north and south.
Um, Minnesota Mike's asking me if I got his pictures, and I don't know, Mike. When did you send them? Tell me that, and I'll have a better idea. Because I don't recall deleting any emails from you. So if you send them via email, I've still got them. Yeah, Minnesota Mike's in Clovis.
Close. Okay, he's just about Fresno then.
Wherever that is where you get the, I forget what he called it, the air goes bad, the valley disease, or some kind of respiratory thing everybody suffers from there.
We used to call it the Central California crud, but I know Mike has a name for it that's actually a diagnosed name.
Yeah, yeah, he had a real name for it. Yeah, he says he sent, oh, let's see. Oh, in a text message. If you send it in a text message, Mike, then I've got it. So I'll go back and take a look. I'm kind of, you know, kind of out of the loop on what's happened in the past, I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks because of obvious reasons, but I'll try to catch up and get back with everybody on things they've sent me. And let's see. Yeah, he's 60 miles south of Yosemite. Valley fever. That's what he called it.
That's right.
That sounds terrible. The way he described it, it sounded like a pretty serious thing. But I guess everybody, sounds like most everybody kind of gets it to one degree or another. But I think he had it pretty bad. I think Mike's
Yeah,
been through some tough stuff in the past year too.
I think if it gets really bad, it can be every bit as bad as lung cancer. But if you take
Or
care of it,
pneumonia. Yeah, I guess it is could be classified as a type of pneumonia, possibly.
it could be. Yeah, he's not too far from the river. I used to water ski out all the time. That's just south of Fresno, about 20 miles.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you, I ask this a lot on here because I'm still not used to Jitsi, but when I am talking, do I dominate the screen with the big picture? Because it doesn't do it for me.
Actually, with the two of us, you dominate the screen all the time.
Oh,
Back and
okay.
forth.
Well, same thing for me with the two of us. You dominate the screen the whole time.
Yeah, when we get sorry about that, but when we get a third person, it'll swap back and forth.
Yeah. Mike says the um, valley fever is a spore in the dirt, and so I guess some plants put it down, and he says it makes what resembles cotton candy in the lungs. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
So it's a solid form of pneumonia.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
histamine, probably a histamine reaction to
Whatever it is, I'm glad I'm not near it.
it. Yeah, me too. I got enough trouble without breathing. I mean, just feel like it's my God-given right to breathe the air outside. When you can't do that, it gets tough.
After painting cars for 35 years,
Yeah.
mostly we side work stuff, but still painting cars for
How
35
long?
years.
How long did y'all use Emron before you found out it was killing people?
Oh, probably. Let's see, I started using Emron in high school. probably stopped using it. Really about 7 years. I think I stopped using it when I was 25.
Did it have warnings on it about safety precautions for breathing, or were they just totally clueless about it?
I never read them if they did. I don't know. I just poured the can in the bucket and mixed some reducer in it and sprayed it.
Yeah,
I always made sure I had a respirator, and I never sprayed Imron outside of a spray booth unless it was just a little touch-up thing.
yeah.
But I was always in a booth with a respirator, and I never wore the hood and the paper suit and all that other stuff. But
Right. Yeah, it was probably more respiratory than contact, hopefully. So did that booth have a big power hood to evacuate and change the air quickly in there?
yeah,
Yeah, that probably made a big difference.
Um, it would do. I think it was 24 air changes an hour. So it was a
Oh,
huge fan.
yeah. Mike just said they kicked him off the track at Bakersfield. He ran too fast. He ran a 9:30, and I guess he's supposed to be a 9:60. So kicked him off the track.
He broke out.
Yeah. Well, if you were bracket racing, as we used to call it, that would definitely be a pretty big breakout. But
930 from 960.
that's a big difference.
That's a huge difference.
I'd love to drive a car that fast just once. Don't think I'd try it today, but that'd be fun.
Yeah, I think
Mike drives bikes that are probably faster than that. And talk about balls of steel, sitting on one of those machines, and when the light turns green, I think you basically pull the trigger and it goes. And, better hang on tight.
Al's got some pretty fast gear too. He's got a couple of cars.
He does, yeah. I didn't even realize that. You know, we've known him in here for a while, and he never really said that much about it until he started describing his car. And he doesn't run any kind of nitrous or blower or anything. He's just running on all motor. I think he's got a pretty quick one with just motor.
Yeah, running all horsepower. That's a hard way to do it, but it's honest.
Yeah. Mike says he needs more safety equipment in the car to qualify to run that fast. And Kawasaki 1100 runs on nitrous. Or is that's nitromethane, not nitrous oxide, right, Mike? The fuel has nitromethane in it, or is nitromethane, and alcohol mixed with it or anything else. See what he says.
Kawasaki 1100 is fast enough on gasoline.
Yeah. When I was in college, they were making a KZ 1100 street bike. It was called a KZ 1100 thing. I remember they had a KZ 900, then KZ 1000. Then I remember when the KZ 1100 came out, it seemed like it was about 1975, something like that. And he says, let's see, sold the bike. Now he just has a 58 Rambler American with a blown small block. Oh, your old one had that's not the same one as the old one, because didn't you have one with a blown 440 or some kind of big block in it? And oh, okay, yeah, just straight nitromethane. And he says, no, it does have alcohol in it. So it's a mix. You probably changed the mix just like we do when you have different elevations and temperatures.
I'm sure, yeah.
Mike, do you have a YouTube channel with any of your races? And I'll wait an answer on that. Oh, here comes somebody. That's a big G. That must be Gerald Wimmer. I've got my microphone in front of where the little sign comes up with their name. He's joining anyway, but mic and camera are muted for the moment. So open up your mic and camera, Gerald. There we go.
camera around. It's just me and Max.
Hey, buddy.
Say hello, Max.
Hi.
Hey, Max. How you doing, buddy?
Good. I'm making a control line comic.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I figured after Monday's debacle of my grand return, I'd just come back Wednesday and throw up a short show and see if anybody dropped in. So I'm glad y'all found us and came.
Yeah, I'm supposed to be working on my mother's eulogy because she died 2 days ago.
Oh, no, sorry.
Yeah, it's a bit sad, but she had cancer for 3 years, so I can't expect a whole lot more. She had a fairly good run out of it.
Yeah.
And move this down a little bit, the camera, try and get it better. But yeah, she was a great control line supporter. I remember my mother going with me to the flying field and helping me build plastic models when I was young, and helping me with control line models. And she was keen on flying kites when she was young, and they'd do combat kites back in Fiji where they'd cut the lines and the victor take the opponent's kite.
Did y'all by any chance call those buka kites?
I know they're popular in Asia, generally around Asia, that the combat fighting with kites was a very popular sport.
Yeah,
and
Wayne was doing that. He brought some of his kites out, and they were made from, he called it the batting from the insulation on aircraft. And it was really a light gossamer material, and they were square, not very big. They were just, maybe not even a meter wide and tall.
Yeah.
But he took them out to Fort Jackson where it's always windy, and he could just about fly it like a control line airplane. You could do pretty much whatever you wanted.
Yeah. Well, that's where my connection came from, because my mother was keen on kites, and she said, well, control line, I'll help you there. And she bought me my first Cox PT, the Cox Super Stunter. PT-19s came later, but that was my first proper control line plane. I did other models before then, but yeah, Mum was always keen to support the hobby. And I remember running in, I was with my friend Ian, we ran the motor in on the kitchen bench, and that was something else. It was so loud inside in a small space, but we didn't know at the time how loud it would be.
Yeah. That's like a great mom. Minnesota Mike offers his condolences for your loss.
Oh, thank you.
And to answer an earlier question, right before you came on, we were talking about his race cars, and his old car was a 64 Dodge Dart with a 440 in it, and now he has a 58 Rambler American with a blown small block. I bet that blown small block will turn up the RPMs a little faster than that big block would.
Yeah, just a different sort of package, I suppose. Slow revving versus big displacement versus a faster revving, small displacement.
Yeah, you got a longer stroke with that heavy mass, and it'll put out torque, but as far as high RPMs, I love engines turning high RPMs.
Yeah. You like the screamers, Rusty?
What'd you say, Jeff?
You like the screamers, huh? That's why you like the half A.
I do. Exactly. I like to run them peeking out, just. I love the sound of that.
Yeah, a friend of mine who raced different drag cars. His wife's drag car was a small box Chev, like a 355 in a Capri, and that was actually the quicker car than his Ford, which had the 460 in.
Mm-hmm.
And they spent a similar amount on both, but I think the gear for the small block Chev was a lot more affordable, much easier to set up than the big block Ford.
And that Capri was a good fit for a small block too, because that was pretty good power to weight ratio there.
Yeah, very good. Whereas the Falcon, there was a two-door Falcon Coupe, which is an Australian version, which is quite a valuable and unusual hardback. It looked a bit like the Cougar, like the Mercury Cougar. A very nice car, but a lot heavier than the Capri.
Yeah.
But I think they were running in 9s in the 9-second bracket when I last communicated with them.
I'm going to do an experiment now that we got 3 of us on here. I'm going to unplug my headphones and see if we get a usable signal. And now y'all tell me if we start echoing or not. Everybody said I came in clear the other night, but everybody else echoed. So give me a testing 1, 2, 3.
1, 2, 3.
Did that
Oh,
echo?
no.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. Never mind. I'm stuck with the earphones. Don't know why that all of a sudden started. Okay, now it's back on earphones. So
Did you go on earphones as well?
Never had that problem before.
I think the scariest thing I did with cars was I put a small block in a 79 Chevy Chevette.
Oh, that's a nice compact car.
I'm surprised you could find room to bolt the thing into a Chevette, because that was about the smallest car Chevy made. It seemed like.
It was about the size of an old Honda Civic.
Yeah, those old Honda Civics were stupid small. They had wheels that looked like big donuts. I mean,
Yeah, my
Civics are pretty cool.
My Chevette had 15 15s on the back and 14 3s on the front. And I took out everything in the front end, put a solid axle under it, so I had room for the engine across.
I had, and I've showed y'all in pictures one time or more, that I had a Chevy Vega that I always dreamed about dropping a 327 or a 350 in, but never got around to it. There was a kit you could buy, V8 your Vega in a weekend, it advertised, and I always thought about doing it, but never got around to it. It had that old junk aluminum engine in it that Chevy made. And so the Cosworth Vega was different. I don't know how durable they were, but they were pretty quick, I think, for the day anyway.
Well, the Cosworth Vega used the Indianapolis motor in it, or a form of it. The stock Vega used some piece of junk that Chevy tried to make as light as possible, and it was so flimsy it would twist when it heated up.
Oh, oil burners, as I recall, too.
Big time.
Yeah. Yeah, that was my sister's car. She drove it until it died, and then it sat in the yard for a while until we had to get rid of it.
We used to buy Vegas here, and we'd carry the pink slip in our pockets because we'd get them for $200 or $300. And when they'd blow up on us or seize up or whatever, when they'd quit running, sign the pink slip and put it on the dashboard and just walk away from it.
Yeah. Jackson Avley had a 67 Rambler Rebel. Ah, cool. A Rebel machine. I love those with the tachometer on the hood. Small block 4-barrel posi-track. I had a friend who was a automotive instructor at a local tech school, and he had the same car. It was the Rebel machine, and his brother had a super souped up Javelin. I don't know what kind of engine was in it, but both of those cars had a great front, big cam in them, and I loved it. I loved it when they'd roll up together, one after the other. What's Max working so hard at back there? He's hunched over like, is that Max?
He's got a cartoon that he's working on. He's working on a control line cartoon, he said.
Oh, good.
I thought I'd Max in the picture. Move the camera around so Max is in the picture too.
Yeah.
But you want to show how you're going so far?
I don't want to spoil the surprise.
Yeah,
okay.
Don't demand an artist to show his work before he's ready to present.
Yeah, we've posted some of his pictures on Stunt Hangar, and he's very prolific. There's a couple more that I can put on later too.
Do you remember what the thread's called? Well, I can look it up from your posts and find it.
Cartoons, I think, but yeah, I can send a link to you through your email of some of his cartoons. I scanned them. We got a new scanner, and I thought, well, I'll scan them and I'll put them on Stunt Hangar. And yeah, he got a lot of positive feedback for his cartoons.
Oh, good. Yeah, I can't wait to go back and look next time I'm browsing Stunt Hangar. I'm woefully behind on my forum reading, and all of my friends over at Cox Engine forums too. And Kim came on Monday night, Kim Stricker from Cox Engine Forums, and I always enjoy him coming on. He's got good stories and pictures, and I think he enjoys the show too. But had such a lousy echo that we couldn't do anything. Ended up deleting those.
He's always got a lot that he's posting on Facebook and around the place. He seems to be a very active aeromodeler. Kim Stricker.
Hey, here's one of my old buddies. Says Mike R. Gill, R.E. Gill. I guess that's Mike Gill. Saw someone put a Hemi in a Vega, and whoops, it's jumping up on me. And they had to cut the firewall out and the fenders, but they made it fit. Minnesota Mike says big block Chevys work in Vegas. They work in Vegas, and yes, they do. I had a guy with a big block Vega inline. It was a 427 inline with me at the drag strip. I did not have to race him. I think he was pro stock, and I was running bracket, but we were right next to each other in line one day. And let's see, Jack Snavely says, yeah, Borg Warner 4-speed enamel paint was a neat kid's car.
Cool. Anyway, I got my wife calling from Ohio.
Okay, yeah. Tell her how hard you've been working. You hadn't been messing around online or anything like that.
Yeah.
Okay, man. See you later.
All right. Let's Sparky know I sent that motor out for him.
I will tell him. All right.
All
Thanks
right,
for
man.
reminding me. All right. Take it easy, man. Thanks for coming.
You too, man. Thanks.
Good night, Chief.
I'm so glad we got a good connection tonight. I was disappointed that Monday night went so poorly, but we'll make up for it.
Yeah, it was disappointing because I was glad to see you back and see you in reasonable health again. It's been a while that you've been out of circulation, but I suppose you've got a lot of catching up to do now.
Yeah, I do, and it's tough. It's a good days and bad days thing. Yesterday I had a great day. I felt good. I had no problem motivating myself to stand up and go get things from the kitchen or whatever, just walking around the house, and it felt good to feel good, basically. And today, dialysis day, I always feel crappy after that, but yeah, I didn't even get out of bed feeling good today. So I guess you use all your energy up on those good days, and the next day you kind of have to recoup. But now that evening has struck, my nocturnal self, as usual, has perked up. And so at the last minute, I thought, okay, well, let's do a show. I had mentioned I had every intention of bailing out on y'all, but then at the last minute, I started feeling good again. So here I am. It's just going to be like that for a while.
Yeah. Well,
Mike R. Gill, or however I'm supposed to say it, says he's someone else we hadn't met. But anyway, welcome. Can I call you Mike or whatever? But are you an aeromodeler, Mike R. Gill? Interested. I always like to see new people come in, and if they're interested. And we're not exactly talking about aeromodeling in here tonight, but you got any airplane news from New Zealand?
Oh, we've got a big contest coming up on Saturday. It's supposed to be a stunt contest, and it's at Greens Road in Derry Flat.
Here comes the artist presentation.
No, do you want to explain it, Max?
Okay, back up just a little. Wait till we get in focus, Max, and then let's see. No, I can't quite get it, but you can talk me through it.
Well, you see, what the kid has done is he's got his dad's specialized fabric for his plane and cut it down to paper dollies. And he says, so that's where my specialized fabric went.
Yeah, I see Dad back there hollering through the door. So surprising him, he thought he was getting away with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I suppose they often raid the modelling room to get supplies for your own craft work, don't you, when you're working on something else? But yeah, I'm sure it'd be a familiar theme with different aeromodelers, that their modelling materials end up in the greater course of the household.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see you've got a picture on the wall behind you. I presume it's a get well card with a plane behind.
That's right. Sam Leinke made that for me, and he
Oh.
wished me well, and Mike put a little note on it too. And they brought that to me. The nurse brought that to me in the hospital one day. They had mailed it to me there. So I thought that was cool. It made me feel good. And I got a few others from my nieces and nephews and that sort of thing. So yeah, appreciate all the goodwill and good wishes.
Yeah. You've got your Stunt Hangar shirt on. If you turn around this way, Max.
Okay. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Those, those cartoons are some of Sparky's favorites. He likes those shirts.
Yeah, the chicken
And
wings cartoon.
and I forget, are those Schultz's pictures? Do you remember who the artist is?
Oh no, they were the chicken wings ones were the two brothers that run the chicken wings cartoons. Schultz did a lot of the ones with the models on, but the chicken wing brothers were, I can't recall their Schroeder or something. What was their name?
I don't know either.
Oh, have you turned around? Oh, there might be a little signature on the bottom.
No.
Yeah, maybe.
No, just it's got the chicken wings brand on. But yeah, we'd have to have a look again.
Yeah.
But he had some great stuff on Teespring. The different pieces of merchandise, the Stunt Hangar were quite neat. But I'll have to have a look there again and see what new is on there, because I think he brought out a few new cups and things as well.
I got a reply from our YouTuber, Mike. He says we can call him Mike. He said, yeah, he's not the Mike that I thought he was at first, but he says he used to fly control line and wants to get back into it, but he's growing old. Boy, ain't we all? But I've seen old people fly better than a lot of young people when we're out there at the contests or at the field just sport flying. So if you're not a member of Stunthangar.com, that's the greatest control line forum ever, and of course that's who's given me the ability to do this show. So if you join Stunt Hangar, if you're not already a member, then it's the greatest source of information, and you can go and ask questions about how to fly, how to build, whatever you want to know, and get a lot of good answers. You kind of have to cherry pick because everybody's got a different opinion, but learn who everybody is and try to consistently assimilate their information, and it's a worthwhile place to be. And my other favorite forum is coxengineforum.com, and that is it's a little tiny forum, and it's got a lot of good tight camaraderie. We have little contests and games we play, like the traveling engine, which I'm going to mail out this week to the next recipient, that goes around the world. And this is a TD-010 Cox, little tiny engine, 0.01 cubic inches, and goes around the world. And it stays out for about a year or so, and everybody flies it or runs it on the block, or just takes pictures of it in some interesting setting and then mails it on to the next member, and we all sign up for it. And I've got it right now, and I've had it since I got sick, so it's time for me to get this thing back on the road. And Mike also says I knew a guy that had a 427 big block Ford and a Mustang 2. Oh, a Mustang 2. Yeah, that was one of those 74 73, 74 era cars, maybe 75, 76. It was, the Mustang disappeared for a while, and then it came back as the Mustang 2, which was kind of a funny little car. A friend of mine in college had one, and putting a 427 in that was probably a pretty good trick too, but I bet that was scooted along pretty good. I bet he says it would scream. So
yeah, they were a tiny car compared to the last Mustang, the full size Mustangs.
Yeah,
and we didn't really get many many of them out of here. But with the 4-cylinder engine, I think they lost their old buyers, and really when they put the V8 and the Mustang 2 in the last ones in about 1980, they put the 302s back in them.
That was the emergence of the Fox body Mustang, I believe, is what we call them here. And that generation, I think a lot of them are loosely called Fox body, where they're similar for a whole lot of years. That generation stayed out. They were the little squarish Mustangs and went through a phase of being really plain for a while. And I like the plain ones too, but I really like the new Mustangs that back in about, 2005 or so. I don't even remember how far back now. They came out resembling the 68s and looked like a dead knockoff of a 68 if you didn't look close. And now they're starting to put new lines and shapes on the bodies, and I think they're really sharp looking cars. I've never owned a high performance Ford. I've owned Fords, but just like escort station wagons and stuff like that. Never a high performance Ford.
My wife's the one she owns a little Ford Capri. That's the little 1600, but it's a manual 1600 GT, and that's a pretty quick little car for a small 4-cylinder car. And then her Sunbeam Rapier, with fastback Rapier with the 302 that's been transplanted in, and that's a very quick car. But it's a bit of a handful to drive. I suppose it's similar again to the Vega or Pinto, where you've put a V8 in it and very nose heavy. And hard to get handling, and it's a bit jittery when you get up to the speed limit, and we've really got to do some work on the suspension on that one before we can use it again.
When you overpower some of those little cars, the chassis just don't like it.
Well, this one's been...
Go ahead.
Sorry, I've got a V8 in it about 20 years now, and it's starting to show stress and strain in the chassis. And we've got a hot rod repair shop, probably about 30 miles from us, that said we can go over it and try and improve the integrity of it. So we're going to have to do that. On the flying front, I was going to say we've got our control line stunt day on Saturday, and we've got the Ringmaster-a-thon coming up. So
we're planning to gather up at Triple Tree and fly Ringmasters, and I won't make that, but that's coming, I think, this weekend. So
So I think last club meeting, everybody in the meeting had a ringmaster, apart from the club president. Everybody else had a ringmaster either ready to go or just about ready. So we should have a good turnout of ringmaster flyers this weekend. And a lot of the guys have said when they go to fly classic stunt, they'll fly a ringmaster. So that'll up the numbers of flights as well. So,
good. Yeah, I hope everybody all over the world has a great ringmaster weekend. Because how many days can you qualify? Is it Saturday and Sunday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday? What's the deal?
I think John Crowley said if you're rained out, then or something happened where the event has to be cancelled, it can be still recorded for that first week after the ringmaster.
Okay. Yeah, I remember they've typically done that in past years too, and that's good because you never know when you're going to get washed out. Wouldn't want to lose it just because of weather.
Yeah, well, it's spring here, and I suppose you're in fall there, and you're going to get marginal weather. It's part of the deal.
Right now, October is probably October and May. They're both probably the most dependable weather months, unless there's a hurricane or something like that, because we're in the middle of hurricane season right now. But the sky is so beautiful blue, and the air is crisp like no other time. And later on in October, like today, it was 96 degrees, but so it still has yet to really cool off. And we've had a few cool nights, but Monday night when I was on, we were having thunderstorms, and so it's still summer-like weather here. But yeah, fall is coming. Actually, fall, started September 22nd, I think, 21st, 22nd, and so I see.
It's still cool. Yeah, well, I've got the woolly jumper on, and it's still fairly cool. I lit the fire last night actually, and just to keep everybody a little bit warmer. But we've run to the end of our burning season really on the last dregs of firewood. But it's wet, and that's the big problem we've got with our event on the weekend. We're worried that the we're going to use is going to be tugged up and uncomfortable for the flyers to run a stunt event. We've never run a stunt event at the Greens Road Field, so it's a bit of a trial. But we'll do our normal flying at Bruce McLaren on Sunday for the Ringmaster-a-thon. So have you been able to go out to your workshop, Rusty?
I'm not able to traverse the knotty grass yard yet. Haven't done that. About all I've been able to do is go out on the front porch and sit and watch cars go by and soak up some sunlight. Sunlight's good for the soul when you've been cooped inside for so long, and it's really nice to sit out there. But I can't do the yard yet, and I've got physical therapy starting back up. I hope it's the same guy that I had before when I was rehabilitating the new hip, and he'll get me out walking around. But I certainly can't safely go out there by myself, and so I'm gonna have to be happy with the front porch and walking around the house until he gets me back up to snuff. I think I'll get there if I can just stay healthy.
Well, the sunlight definitely helps. It helps with your bone density and things like that. They say that vitamin D.
Yeah. I've never gotten a good answer on how the sunlight interacts with the skin to cause vitamin D to convert into a useful substance for your body. But somehow the vitamin D that you intake in your food is in your bloodstream, and the sunlight, hits you on the skin, so it hits capillaries, and whatever it is, the sun's rays convert the structure of it so that it becomes a beneficial material in your blood.
Well, that sounds a better understanding of it than I've had, but yeah, it's obviously beneficial. My father's pretty immobile, but my brother will take him out in the wheelchair and park him out in the garden, and he loves doing that. He'll often just sit out there and cut a few twigs and things, and but he just likes being outside, even if he can't garden like he used to. He just loves being outside. He's 89, so
How old was your mom? Was she same age?
She was 74. She was a lot younger, but even though she didn't smoke, she got the lung cancer, and it was 3 years, and it took her eventually. But yeah, it was. I suppose part of it's genetics. My father just seems to have good genetics. He just seems to hang in there quite well. But often they can do quite an amazing recovery when they get the medication right. And with my father, he was getting water on the lungs, and he's having heart trouble. But now that they seem to have his medication better, he's a lot more active now, which is quite good. He seems to be taking my mother's death quite well too. But yeah, it's hard to say. It's early days. But, yeah, it's the thing, I suppose. You've just got to do your best to get back in good order so you can enjoy life. And if it's flying that it is, then obviously we like to be mobile, but otherwise we try to find other ways to make it still happen.
Yeah. If you can, it's nice to be able to be physically healthy, and when you can, if you can stay intellectually healthy, that can be a lot of fun too. I value my relationship with my 34-year-old son because we like to talk about the same things. He's a scientist. I am a wannabe scientist. I'm trained in engineering, but science and engineering go together, but doesn't make me a full-fledged scientist. But we have so many fun talks that helps keep me alive too. I couldn't bear to leave that. So yeah, I got plenty of reasons to live, whether I can fly again or not, and that is questionable. Honestly, I got to be truthful with myself. I may not ever fly again, or maybe I'll surprise myself. That's what I hope.
Yeah, well, you just have to keep positive. And a friend of mine, John Carradis, who was in the chair, flying from his chair for quite a few months. In fact, it was probably over a year. He was flying from his chair, and he had a fairly short endurance. He had a short tank, everything. He just had a short flight, and he was just enjoying being able to participate from his chair. And he had his hip operation. He's had knee operations before, and he was up here today just before. He brought some flowers up for the family. But he's been flying again and trying to get back active. He said, I'm just happy to go round in circles and do the odd loop.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm just happy that I can still do that. He can't stand terribly long before he finds it too tiring, but he's just happy being able to do that again. So often there is a way forward, even if it is slower than what you hope. But I've also seen a lot of people where they just
I'll take what I can get at this point. So yeah, that's great. Let's see, YouTube update. Jack Snavely had to go off to work and start the day shift next week. Thanks for the video. Watch you later. Minnesota Mike. Let's see. What did he say? We got Minnesota Mike commented. Oh, somebody was talking about who the old timers on the show were. Somebody said you were. Minnesota Mike. He said Sparky, the owner of the site's an old timer. Yeah, I guess we're all a bunch of old timers here now. Minnesota Mike says Rusty is in the Carolinas. He's a good flyer, but newer to flying. And Mike says he's in the Carolinas. Oh, hey, Mike, we got we're neighbors. All right, I'm in South Carolina, Columbia to be exact. So that's our YouTube update. I'm going to have to step away for a minute. I'm getting a dry mouth. I got to get me a refreshing dose of ice cold Coca-Cola. If I leave, you don't have anybody to talk to. I'll wait it out for a minute.
I wish I would come back as well, but yeah, I'm supposed to be doing the YOLID for my mother and getting together some pictures and stuff. But the boys are on school holiday right now as well, so I said let's do some model plane flying and some building as well. So let other matters take control. But you know, when the weather always improves, you feel more enthused too. I think that's another factor.
Yeah, the weather drives people's moods a lot. You know, I couldn't imagine living in a place where it was always rainy. I had a friend that lived in Seattle all his life, and when he moved to South Carolina, he said, "Wow, now I know why I was always depressed because it was always gray and rainy." But see, I've been to Seattle, but I was lucky, I guess. We went in July, the only time I've been there, when my sister-in-law got married, and it was gorgeous. And the sun apparently emits a different spectrum through the atmosphere. Maybe it's the maybe it's the latitude we're at, a higher latitude, so it gets different filtering. But all of the flowers and plants were brighter than I remember seeing them here. And, you know, just ordinary colors here are just eye-popping bright there. I don't know what the difference is, but it was pretty nice. It got up into the 80s, and the stores were giving box fans away so people wouldn't get heat stroke. They were just sweltering in mid 80s degree weather, and but in the evenings it got so cool. She had a little chimenea, one of those little garden fireplaces that's just a chimney with a pot belly on it. We had to start a fire in the chimney on the back porch just to stay warm. It got so cold on a July night. That was pretty different. But I'd like to go out there again too. It was a fun place to go visit, and sitting at the restaurants on the bay, and I can't remember the name of the bay now. It's a huge body of water, but sitting at restaurants and watching the float planes come and go, and it's amazing to me that those float planes will even fly, because those big old floats look like they weigh a ton. I know they don't, if it's an aircraft part, it doesn't weigh much anyway, but it just makes the plane look like it's unflyable. But they
they're
pop right out.
large, yeah. And
They
they're not
pop
really
right
adding
out of the water.
I
We've
suppose
got
they're
a.
not really adding either.
It's not what?
The actual float shape doesn't add lift. The airfoil's the wrong way up in a sense.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it to me either. So, but I was watching. There's a show called Airplane Repo that comes on, and these repossession guys that work for the bank go they get airplanes and yachts and stuff like that back from millionaires that are defaulting on their payments, and they make it pretty traumatic. But they had to swipe a float plane the other day while the pilot was part of a party he was hosting on a little island, and so he had to take scuba gear and swim up to it and peel out of the scuba gear and get on the plane and pre-flight it, check the oil, do a regular pre-flight, trying to do it without being seen by the party, and hopped in that plane and snatched it. The people always come running like, stop, stop. Like, what? Yeah, okay. And occasionally they get shot at too, but it's always funny how they're flying away and somebody's standing on the ground and screaming, stop, stop, like they're going to come back.
Too late there. I suppose when there's money concerned, people don't have a whole lot of mercy on others. It's just the way of the world.
Yeah.
If something you repossess, they've just got to do it. But did you hear on Stunt Hangar they were talking about the B-17 that crashed?
No, I have not heard of a B-17 crash either.
Oh. That was just recently. I'll click on Stunt Hangar on the other forum, and I can tell you it was just recently. It was a tragedy, unfortunately. It was one where I'll go back to the main Stunt Hangar page.
Minnesota Mike straightened me out. He said the sound, meaning Puget Sound, I bet. That's where that's what we were watching the planes come and go from when we were in Seattle. And that's where the guy stole the airplane a year or so ago. It might be a couple of years ago now. And he wasn't a pilot, but he'd flown it on the sim. It was a Twin Otter, maybe. I can't remember for sure. But he stole that plane and flew it around for several hours, I think, and had interceptors trailing him, and he finally put it in. But he did a loop with it first.
Oh, my computer's a bit slow. I don't know how the video is working now. I've moved over to the open forum, and it's talking, I think.
Oh, yeah, it probably is dragging. It's probably got a lower background.
It's the Collins Foundation. It was Collins Foundation. It was Mana Airport, but yeah, it was in the news, and I think five people are known to have died. The plane landed but lost control and ran into a de-icing unit in the maintenance building. 5 are known as dead. That's what Perry Rose posted on Stunt Hangar. 8 people were taken to hospital. Yeah, but yeah, it's unfortunate with that sort of incident.
What sort of terrain did it come down on?
Oh, it took off, and it was like 10 minutes after takeoff. I think they tried to turn back to the airport, and they had engine trouble, and instead of executing an emergency landing, something obviously went wrong, and they ended up crashing at the airport, attempting an emergency landing. But yeah, I'm just reading through the general posts on Stunt Hangar about it, and there was a news report, but it's sort of early days. It was a news report on NBC News about the plane crash. I hear it as Hartfield CT Airport.
Now tell me
But,
again,
yeah, people will probably want to
what
look at
plane
that if
was
they're
it?
interested. But yeah, it's just a shame, not just for the loss of life, but the loss of
Yeah,
a B-17 Flying Fortress.
B-17. Okay.
So
Minnesota
that's
Mike
why
was saying something about a
on Stunt.
commercial jet, but
So it's quite.
was there a commercial jet
No,
crash in the news
this
lately
was a
too?
B-17. I think. I think there was. Yeah, I saw that on Wikipedia. There was a commercial jet crash too. I'll try and find back my way back to where. Yeah. Oh, hard to read there, but therefore Stunthangar is a good news source, and it's not full with all the
Yeah.
advertorials like websites, and you can search through Stunthangar news so easily. It's a big advantage over Facebook. Facebook's good. I like Jamie Halford's site, the Control Line Flying site. That's an excellent site on Facebook. But Facebook, like so many people say, is a bit of a pain to use, and just the intrusiveness of it is annoying. And I'm sure that's what Sparky would reiterate, just how invasive Facebook can be. I can understand why so many people would rather come to Stunthangar than use Facebook.
I like reading the forums. Facebook is such a fast moving stream of disconnected information from unrelated sources that it gets tedious for me. It's like a 50-foot long scroll that I'm trying to go through, and
Yeah.
trying to find something somebody told me about sometimes is difficult. But I'm not a skilled Facebook user. I've got a site that I rarely post on. My wife uses it a lot. She reads, she doesn't post. But I just kind of got it for friends and family. And upon becoming part of the control line community, I got a hell of a lot of friends. So that's cool.
Yeah, it is good for communicating events and getting a big catchment of the control line community. Everybody seems to have their own preference in how they want to communicate. A lot of people don't want to email now, they'd rather messenger and other ways of communicating. And when you're trying to organise an event, having to post it in all these different areas, and it becomes a bit of a logistics thing, trying to ensure everybody's read what you're trying to put out there.
Oh, Mike cleared it up what he was talking about. It was what I was talking about, the guy that stole the plane and flew it around the Seattle area. That was the commercial jet he had posted something about. So I just had two conversation threads mixed up. Yeah, I had mentioned that. Wasn't a twin jet. And let's see what else is going on YouTube here. That's about it. Yep, nothing new yet. So I appreciate you YouTubers out there watching us. And Mike, I don't know if this is your first time watching the show. This is not a typical show because it's not at the usual time. I'm making up for a show that had technical difficulties Monday, and so just a couple of us found it and came in to visit. But usually we get some good aeromodeling conversations going and learn how people build and do things different ways, and how many different ways there are to get to a certain point in your building. And it's a good place for advice and just general fun. It's kind of like sitting out at the field talking to your friends between flights, sitting around here on the Hangout show, we don't call it that anymore because Google Hangouts is not with us anymore, but we're adapting to the new format slowly.
Well, the quality is good tonight.
It is, yeah.
It is working well.
Me plugging my earphones in solved a hell of a lot of problems because it was just horrible with the echo the other night. And then Trey PM'd me or messaged me at Stunt Hangar after the show and said after I signed off, the echo went away and those guys hung out for a couple more hours and had had a good chat. So it was me, my speakers feeding back through my microphone. And I don't understand why it's suddenly doing that and never did that before.
Oh, that's strange. Yeah, that is unusual, because if it's worked before and it stops working, it always puzzles you. So
There may be some setting to suppress background noise, but I'm not going to go poking through the settings while we're on the show. So I'll look into that and see if I can find anything.
yeah, well, I suppose if Gypsy's relatively new to us, so if there are other people out there that are using it, maybe they can give some tips too.
Yeah, in fact, I joined a Jitsi discussion forum, and it looks like there might be some pretty smart people out there that can give me some advice on that. I bet it is a setting. I know I've got some noise suppression settings in my Bang & Olufsen audio setup here. That's a name I hadn't heard in a long time until I bought this HP computer. I think this computer's about five or 6 years old now, but are you familiar with Bang & Olufsen? That's a Scandinavian, used to make stereos back in the old days, back in the 60s and 70s. Bang & Olufsen, I guess that's how you say it.
I'm familiar with also a nice model airplane engine, but not hi-fi stereo
Now,
gear.
this is spelled Bang & Olufsen is Olfsunn or something like that. So, yeah, Scandinavian. They were famous high-end stereo equipment back in the day. Back in the day when audiophiles had stacks and stacks of stereo equipment, like me. I built some of mine and bought some of mine, but the pinnacle of my stereo years was a Kenwood 155 watt per channel head with a JVC tuner and a Sound Craftsman equalizer, and I think I had a great reel-to-reel, not reel-to-reel. I had a great stereo cassette, and I can't remember if that was a Pioneer. Or, I'm thinking that must have been a JVC also. But it was a pretty cool stereo. I had big Bose speakers, covered up a whole wall of the room. Back when stereos were huge. I was so proud of that. I used to peel the paint off the walls with it, playing rock and roll too. Having my not rehearsal, but having my bachelor party the night before I got married to Holly, we were rocking out. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and rock and roll hoochie coo was playing, and all of a sudden smoke came out of the amplifier and it just stopped. It was dead silence, and I whipped that amplifier out and jerked it out of the shelf, put it on the floor, unscrewed the cover, and went in there, and I had just blown the fuses to the power amps. And so I popped those fuses out and stripped a lamp cord for 2 pieces of copper wire and soldered those 2 copper wires. It blew both channels at the same time. And I soldered those things back in, put all the wires, because I had to cut 2 circuit boards completely away from each other. Got it back together, soldered everything up, clicked it back on. It took me about 20 minutes to do the whole job, and rock and roll hoochie coo is back online. And that tickled everybody that I tore the amp apart and soldered it back together and got it back on, and the party resumed. Boy, I was hungover the next day. Luckily, we didn't get married until, well, let's see. Yeah, it was at 1 p.m., so I wasn't all that recovered yet. But the girls were pretty rough too. So, little hair of the dog and everything was good. 35 years later, all is well. So,
oh, that's neat. Yeah, in the old days, the stereos were repairable. You just pull out the little TO3 size power transistors and things, and you could replace the things quite easily.
yeah, big old fat transistors.
Yeah, it was easy to pull the things apart. It wasn't nowadays. Everything is such double-sided printed circuit boards. Everything's microscopic.
Oh, it's just, you might as well just shake your head and zip it up. I don't know if they even have stereo repair shops anymore.
A lot of it's all gone. It was one of the first jobs I considered doing. I wanted to get a job repairing and working for Tisco or something, with stereo repair, TV repair place. And I ended up going into engineering, in the engineering field really, but it was a big business. There were stereo repair shops everywhere, all the little corner shops. There'd be a
I
TV
always wanted to work at a stereo repair shop, and I actually did for a while, just kind of under the table. It was between high school and college, but I was pretty good with electronics at that time. And you know, I've always been a mechanic by nature, but electronics was my fun hobby when I was a kid. And I worked at that shop repairing. I learned how to repair TVs, mostly black and whites that came in I could fix, and record players, as they called them. You know, they bring stuff in that really should have been thrown away, but I wasn't all that great at it, but I had a lot of fun doing it, and I usually succeeded. Probably spent more times running back and forth to the parts store than I should have had, but they put up with me, and I had fun.
Well, the old stereos and TVs and all, when there was valves concerned, there was high voltage as well. And I remember getting tickled by those a few times.
Boy, you can get slammed messing with a television, even one that's been unplugged for a week. You know,
massive capacitors in them. Yeah,
that damn sweep circuit, man. Those capacitors would load up and stay loaded. Oh, look, we got. I didn't even see him come in. Bob Bishop came in at 10:56. Okay, he came in about 5 or 6 minutes ago. Hey, Bob. He says, let's see. First time oh, okay. I got to back up a little bit more. Mike says this is his first time and he recently subscribed. Okay, great. And hey, you can subscribe to my channel too if you want. I've got all the reruns are on it. Easier to find an organization, and all of my flying videos are in Rusty space K. And if you type control line in after that, you can find my actual channel homepage. And let's see, Minnesota Mike. Yeah, they're talking about how I'm on the wrong day. Yeah, Mike. I mean, Bob. I came on tonight because my show had technical difficulties Monday, and so we're just doing a Wednesday special. I'm probably going to sign off in a few minutes too. But got me and Gerald are the stars tonight, and Jeff had to go. Oh yeah, Bob Bishop asked if Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo was Rick Derringer, and yes, that is spelled correctly, and yes, that was the Rick Derringer version. And I forget who else did it. Johnny Winter probably did it, and that's the only two I can think of. But that was the Rick Derringer album that I was playing that night on my Pioneer turntable, which my son has the turntable and the record collection. And I gave my amp and tuner and equalizer and all that other junk away to a friend that lives down at Little River, South Carolina, and don't know if he still got that stuff or not, but it's probably worn out and certainly obsolete by now. It's been obsolete. But anyway.
My vintage gear is still sitting in our lounge. When we originally moved in here where we are about 21 years ago, I set up my old Technics amp and all my big 12-inch speakers, and I had speakers all over the house, and I just ran cables all over, and we had lots of noise. It was fun. But whereas when the kids came along and their interest in all of that sort of faded, but yeah, it's still there, my old stereo. And
Cornell was born, of course, he was our only kid, so it was a little easier to get things organized and done with one child than it is for you guys that have 2+ children. I know life gets really complicated after a while with between school sports and activities and stuff, but I managed to expose Al to a good bit of the music of my generation, and he really took to it. In fact, he doesn't miss a Grateful Dead concert within 300 miles. He follows them around because he married I call her a hippie. She's a modern day hippie because she follows the Dead and similar bands, and they are up on the modern music scene that is the progeny of our music from back in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And so I'm proud of that. They love it just like we did. So and like I was telling y'all not too long ago, we're planning to go to see Blue Oyster Cult Friday night. My a very, at least for the first 5 albums, they are my very favorite ever rock band, and they still play. They were a good rock band because they can play on stage as well as in the studio, and so I'm hoping I'm up to that. Al lives about halfway between where the venue is and where I live, so we're gonna stay at his house. If I can't go, then maybe he and Holly will go. But I'm going to do my best to be in shape to get there Friday night, because I saw Blue Oyster Cult in 1972 with Golden Earring and Leonard Skinner all in the same night for $4. $4, and that was when I had just become a serious fan of Blue Oyster Cult. They had 2 albums out at the time. Tyranny and Mutation was the second one. Self-titled Blue Oyster Cult was the first one, and I still love them more than any other band to this day. So yeah, I saw them on the front side, so we're gonna go see them on the back side now. I can't wait.
Yeah. Well, I hope it all goes well, because it's not something you want to miss.
No, it's not. I hope it goes well. I can't control how good or bad I feel, so I'm going to do my best to feel good, whatever little control I can insinuate into. It is on a dialysis day. It's on a Friday, so, but by the evenings, like I was saying, I hit my stride. It's early. It's a 7:30 or 8 o'clock start time, and I don't think they have a band playing music before them. It would be nice if they didn't start until 10. That would suit me fine, and then go on until midnight or 1. I'd be good with that, but we're gonna have to hustle on up. It's about 60 miles from my house, I think, and about 30 miles from Al's house. So we'll stay over with Al and drive up there. That's a good waypoint. So yeah, I'll tell y'all all about it Monday night. Hopefully.
Yeah, well, you just got to plan your strategies. It's like going to a stunt event where you know that you might not be 100%, but you just have to plan it out so that you can sort of fit it in. I know with my IBS, my irritable bowel, it's challenging sometimes to do these things, but you know what your limitations are and you just work around them best you can.
Exactly. And that also, affects me. I have the same affliction, not to the degree you do, but with all that's going on and the antibiotics I'm taking and all that, you kind of gotta watch out and what you eat and plan for the time frame. But I can manage that. And so, hey, this is serious geezer talk now.
Well, you're happy if you can do the event and pay for it later. That's what I often think. I think if I'm a wreck at the end of the stunt event or whatever it is, if I can get through it, then at least I've got the memories and hopefully a few photos to share at the end of it.
Yeah. Do the best we can to lean into it and, like Mr. Natural, keep on trucking.
Yeah.
Gerald, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Mike, welcome. I'm glad you came part of the show. And Bob, good to see you too, Minnesota Mike. We enjoyed talking hot rods with you. Jack Snavely's already left us. So let me run up the list and see who else I'm forgetting to thank. Guess that's about it. Jeff Riley was here. So thank you, Jeff. He had to go off and do errands before his wife found him slacking, playing on the internet. So thanks, Gerald. I appreciate your company, and we'll be back at our usual time at 9:40 p.m. Eastern time, Eastern U.S. time on Friday evening, day after tomorrow. No, we won't. I'm going to see Blue Oyster Cult. Never mind. So we'll see you Monday, and maybe Sparky will fill in for me or somebody. Sometimes Charles Carter will start up just a private chat, even though even though they're not recording to YouTube. And that is available to anybody logged into stunthangar.com control line forums in the At the Bench forum. And if you go to the main page, you see the open forum and builders and all. Scroll down a few and you will see the At the Bench thread. The link to this video show is in there. Otherwise, you can watch it on YouTube, which everybody can see. And so, good night, all. Take care. We enjoyed it. This, I guess, will be my grand return. So, thanks, Gerald. Appreciate it. All right. So, we are
Thanks, Rusty.
signing off in about 10 seconds. It takes me 3 clicks. End stream. And here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Good night.